Hey Flo.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hey everybody. So welcome to these new office hours. So for those of you who are new, don't hesitate to present yourself in the chat so that we can get to know you, where you're from and like your proficiency with WeWeb. And the way it works is that in the question and answer panel from Zoom, you can ask question and we'll get them in order. So, and if needed, we'll invite you on stage to precise your question if it's not self-sufficient. So yeah, hello. I'm fine, Sophia, and thanks. How are you too? And we've got the first question from Alex. Do components have the same benefit of the multi-page sections, where if you have the same component on various pages, it won't have to reload and won't flicker? It seems to be working that way for me, but it would be good to know if that is the way it works so that I can best decide how to build out the pages, particularly menu pages. So, Flo, do you know? I'm not sure it's the same, no?
I can't see the question, so I cannot read it. I don't know why.
Normally you could see all of them. That's weird.
Hmm. Okay, so let me
Maybe
let
it's
me
because before you came, but basically, like the question is when you use reusable components, is it the same as using multi-page sections, meaning that if you change page, the component won't be reloaded?
No, it will because it will be another instance. So basically, the only things that are not reloaded when you change a page is a link section, a multi-page section, because we detect that we have the same section into the same page, and so we won't reload it. Like kind of like you do with SPAs. So
Yeah.
this is the same thing. For if you have a component inside this link section, it won't be reloaded. But if you have a component, so if I'm not wrong, we will load the code source of your component only once. So then when you are changing a page, basically we won't have to download the component, so it will be loaded a bit faster, but it will be another instance. So you will have an unmounted, for example, event in your component. It will disappear from the DOM and then it will appear again in the different context, of course.
So basically it's loaded only once, but it's getting re-rendered.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. And multi-page sections, they are not getting re-rendered, so they stay the same. So hopefully this answers your question, Alex. So let's get to your second one because I've seen that you have many. Why does the bottom of the scroll of a container not take into account the bottom padding, and how do you make it scroll down to the distance to show the full padding? That's how CSS and browser work. I think it's that they take the edge of the box model, if I'm not mistaken. So you should add the distance of your margin and paddings, if I'm not mistaken, to the scroll parameter.
Yes.
Uh, because that's not WeWeb, basically, that's browsers. And another one, big one, so maybe I'll invite you. With regard to non-element sizes, is there a way to know the width of the scroll bar or assign the design of the scroll bar instead of being auto-set by the browser and therefore different for all users? The scroll bar takes part of my side nav bar, particularly when collapsed, and I want to compensate the size for that. Yeah, you have like CSS selectors to change the scroll bar, but you need to add it as custom CSS in WeWeb because you can't target the scroll bar because it's not part of your app. And we've got tutorials on YouTube for this. I think I've done one a long time ago, but basically on MDN, Mozilla Developer Network, you've got all the CSS selectors to get the scroll bar.
May be
So
able to find
maybe,
this
yeah.
if you get minutes.
Because this is not specific to WeWeb, this is specific to the browser. So we can't select it in WeWeb, but you can still add it as the custom CSS on your app. And
Yeah.
it will be visible only on the published app though, for the moment. Hey, Steve. Indianapolis. Nice. I think it's the first time we've have someone from Indianapolis.
This is something we could add in the app settings with
Ah,
the
yeah,
background.
maybe, yeah.
We should add that.
And then the other question from Alex, is there a way to know the height or width of an element to be able to use it in a formula, such as knowing the height of the nav or footer, which changes size based on responsiveness, and subtracting that height from the VH to be able to have the body always fill in the rest of the height of the screen? Basically, yeah, having the computed size of an element in WeWeb in a formula, I don't know if we have it. I'm not sure. But you can get it with some JavaScript, I think. Let's say a flow, I have an element with a div that have a certain
Mhm.
height, and I want to get this height in a formula elsewhere on the page.
Yes, you need to do a bit of the JavaScript for this.
I think it's a query selector, and then you
Yeah,
get like the height or something. WeWeb
quite simple.
Copilot might be able to answer this also,
Let
but
me give
maybe
you
Flow
the,
will find it.
yeah. Start, I found the CSS to change the scroll
Yeah.
bar. So let
It's
me,
true that it's something that we can maybe add in the formula panel, like having the
yeah,
computed width for height, no?
yeah, true, and even the selector, I think. Let me give you all this.
So don't hesitate, by the way, to add this suggestion on feedback.weweb.io, sending the URL in the chat so that you can, like, the suggestion you add will create tickets that will be added in the roadmap. Because those are actually nice suggestions, Alex, so that would be really cool. Yeah, exactly. So if you could add them on feedback.weweb.io, that would be really nice when you've got time. And we'll add it to the roadmap because I think that's really nice suggestions.
I just sent the scrollbar.css in the chat. If you wish to check it, you just have to copy paste that in the header of your application, and of course edit the CSS for the specific width you wish, and it should work on the published app.
Yeah, because if I remember well, each browser has a different selector for the scroll bar, so that's why you will see many selectors.
Yeah.
And
And so the other one was to be able to query.
like get the computed width or height of an element.
Okay. Okay, yes, so I can definitely give the code for that. I let you go on queue. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, how do you change the font in the middle of a paragraph if you want to make medium or semi-bold some part and not just bold or italic? You should use the rich text for this, or if you can't, you have to use different text. Rich text, yeah, because rich text, we're able to target some specific part of the text. Otherwise, you need to do like a text, no, a normal one, another text which is bold, and another text. It can be done with a formula, yeah. I mean, you can also add the bold HTML tag, yeah, with a formula, but the text will be computed. So for SEO, maybe it's, I mean, depends on what you want to do. But what I would do is, yeah, maybe you can use a formula or like custom HTML as well, and just enter yourself the P tag with the B tag inside of it to make it bold. Okay, another question from Guillaume. What is best practice to work with classes for element states? I made different classes for default versus hover versus focus states, but when I apply them to an element state, it doesn't behave as expected. For example, a button will get stuck on the hover appearance after the first occurrence of the hover states. That's weird. So maybe we'll invite you on a stage because normally the hover state is on hover only. But maybe you're previewing this state, that's why you are seeing this, but when you're on preview, it should not be like this, so we'll invite you. Because maybe it's not well set up. Hey, Guillaume.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
Fine, you.
Good, good. Thanks for having me. So here, let me show you what I mean. This should do it. Okay, so I have these buttons, right? And this is meant to be the primary button element. So there's a outline class, and then I'm using subclasses for different button sizes. And then there is a glass option. That's the
Yeah.
anyway. It doesn't really matter which is which, but let's say I'm trying to use this one as the normal state, and then this one as the hover state, for example, right? So if I go here, so let's say, yeah, this is the normal state, it's outline. And then if I go and I add a hover state, it kind of looks like this is applied even in the hover state, which maybe might be the cause of the issue. But anyway, if I add now glass, right, and I go and preview this, well, already it's kind of stuck like this. See, like that's not what I would expect to happen. You know what I mean? Like now it's not on hover
Yeah.
and it's the glass attributes. Is that a bug or am I doing this wrong?
If you go back to the normal state, yeah.
This is a
Like
default state, but it's
do you
not.
have the, could you check the classes? Yeah, open the classes.
in here you've got PTN light, primary outline, and small to applied. And can you go to the other state?
Yeah, sorry. This is also a little quality of life
Yeah.
thing. This really gets stuck.
We need to fix it.
It's annoying. And also the search, I don't, sorry, we're sidetracking, but if I go and I search, I don't know, secondary, and I go to another element and I go here, it'll still be stuck in here. I don't know if that's flagged already, but kind of annoying. Anyway, sorry. Back to
No
this.
worries.
If I go to the hover state, um, I can't unselect, although that's not really, yeah, I don't know if that's the issue here, but
Yeah, because when you apply over, it's you got both states,
right,
from both classes. So
right,
so
like
you to
stacked.
override your class that you apply on over needs to override what you have in the previous classes. So what do you want to change in that button on over? Can you show us
Yeah, I
the
mean, I think the main difference between these two states is the gradient on the background, which is done with the custom CSS property,
Mhm.
which is also, it's in both classes, like the specific, this one has a different gradient from this one, so it
Okay.
should override it the way I understand it, like the same properties getting
Yes.
updated, right? So
So right
I
now
don't know.
the issue is that it's not overridden. I mean, when you apply the other class, the class on over, can you
Yeah.
show us that just this class? Can you click on the class and the edit button?
Oh, yes. And you want to
The one
see
the one you apply on over.
so the other one, I guess right now it would be this one. This is what we have.
Okay. Okay, can you show us again what's wrong when you apply both of them?
Yeah, I mean, we can show it right. We can see it right now. This button here should be in the normal state, right? So it should be button primarily outline, but this is what button primary outline looks like. And now this is looking like the glass class, which is the hover state for this.
Yes, because both classes are applied. But normally in the class you apply while hovering should just update the default class. It shouldn't rewrite everything. So I don't know.
I think that's not the issue here, Flo. Like, because the new class is adding stuff, but the fact is that the new class is being stuck also when it's not hovered anymore.
Yeah, like it's super weird because you can see something is
Yeah.
happening. It's very subtle, but
Or maybe
it's
this
like,
is a transition. Yeah, I don't know.
and it's the same thing in the. I can check anyway. I can make a post about this. I don't want to take up too much of the time on the stream, but it's really weird, and I kind of have a hunch it's the custom CSS property that's causing an issue, but
Yeah.
I don't. I can check if this is still the case in the published app, and
No, it
yeah.
should work on the editor. Okay. Instead of
Okay.
making a post, I think it would be easier to create a ticket so we could check directly on your project and see if there is an issue.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thanks, guys.
No worries. Yeah.
All right, and you can kick me off now.
One question from Prolet. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. From Austin, Texas. Nice. Is there a best practice for creating tooltips? Specifically, I have a lot of input fields. I would like an eye icon for each. I created a component with a div containing the tooltip, but there are display issues as the tooltip gets cut off when at the end of the container. Not sure if this is a question for the session or the beginner session. I mean, we can get this during this session, and we'll invite you because this is really specific. But yeah. Again, I see that we have new participants. Don't hesitate to ask your question in the question and answer panel.
Okay, I don't know if I was prepared. I don't know if I was prepared to be on stage. You pronounced my name correctly.
Cool.
Yeah, so like I was trying to make something that's a lot more reusable in the future. I'll show you kind of what I created, I guess, share screen. So I was playing with WeWeb. I'll completely admit I just started. So I created this custom tooltip component. And as part of that, I created a flex box that right now it's not visible because of the display.
Yeah.
Change this, right? So basically the box gets displayed. And I think that it might just be how I'm trying to define the attributes of this flex box. But what happens is if I use the tooltip somewhere on a related page, it will get cut off here where kind of the container ends. And I was trying to figure out what's the best way to actually position it correctly.
I think this is relative. Absolute, yeah.
So you need to, this one is really nice because you need to add a bit some logic. So if I understand correctly, when you are at the bottom of the page, you would, for example, it would be better for it to be displayed above the icon and not below, right?
No, not above. Actually, I don't think I care if it's below. It's more on the side, it gets cut off. Actually, let me see if it worked in this preview works. No, actually, in this one doesn't seem to be a problem. In my actual application, I think it's a problem because the container is set to a particular width. This container is set to the full width, but if Yeah, actually, I don't know why in the other one gets cut off like right here where the line of this container would be.
Maybe because you have
Is it the index issue, no?
an overflow property like
Overflow, yeah.
overflow scroll, and so it would be cut off indeed.
Yeah.
I tried also on the absolute positioning to put the Z to like higher number all the way to 100, and it still was getting cut off.
Well, I can give you another way to do that, and it could
Great.
be a lot more easier for you because you won't have to duplicate all your instances, just to have maybe just once. No, the icon needs to be always displayed, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what you could do, so it's to have this component, just the flexbox that appear in that component, and then what you would do is to add only once this component into your page, and you would position this component where you are hovering. So basically, while hovering this icon, you would just display this kind of model. Or we can quickly try. Let's try something. Maybe it's easier for you. So can you click the add button on the, so go back to your page, and we will make it a component later. So can you click the back to instance? Yes, in here. Click the add in here. Yes, perfect. Can you type in model? Maybe this one would be easier.
The model?
Yes, this one. We can cheat a bit with it. Or it could be a div also. No, let's add the model. Okay, perfect. So this one we will just change a bit the things. So can you remove the backdrop on the right? So on the right here, normally you should be able to move it back
Off.
off.
Yeah.
Great. And let's remove everything inside this model and just keep some text.
That's right.
Yeah, this one, and you can remove that part too. Yes, perfect. Okay. So now, if you select the model, really the section of it, above, yes, just the model above the parent of this one. Yes, you see on the right you've got position, and instead of middle, on middle you can select absolute or custom. Yes, custom, perfect. Okay, and you see in here you can position the model, so horizontally and vertically, and we will do that a bit later. So let's create a variable. So in data, you can call it tooltip position, something like this. Let's make it so an object. And by default in that object, can you add two keys? So one called horizontal and the other one vertical, or X or Y. So quotes X, that will be the position of the model. And let's put 10 pixels, something like this. Okay, perfect. You can click create. And now let's bind the position on the right, so horizontal and vertical. Let's bind to this variable. So here you can select, so it was multi-position. So in here it would be X, perfect. And it needs to be pixels, so you need to add plus in here, plus quotes pixel. Yes, perfect. And same thing for vertical. Okay, this is very nice. Or maybe we can add something into that object. It's display. Sorry. So let's add a key. So we have X, Y. Yes, we will replace that one exactly. So let's go back to
the data.
position, yes, object. And in here, let's add another key called display. So we will just use this variable, and by default, it will be false. Okay, perfect. So now we can bind this model to this one. Yes, we can't type in there yet.
I know, I tried that before and I was like, oh, that doesn't work. Sometimes it's faster to type it than to find
Yeah.
it.
We agree. Okay, so now what we can do is to create
I can have like an icon.
well, no, what we can do, okay, yes, it's would you let me think just quickly. Okay, so can you select your component with the icon?
Yeah.
The information one. Yes, yes, okay, okay, perfect. Can you edit it?
I already created that one as a, it doesn't matter what it is here. I'll
Okay.
just change it to something else so we know
Yeah,
which
yeah.
one.
It's just for the logic. So can you double click on it? Just to edit the component.
Oh, why am I editing the icon?
Yes, just really
Yeah.
because you are
Okay,
on the
okay.
component right now. So
Yeah. No, I was just thinking because I actually would want it only for a particular one. So I think
okay,
that
so
just
let's
adding the action on it
let's
will
add
be
the
fine.
workflow on this one. So let's add the workflow on this one on the yes in here. So create a workflow here. You can click new. Yes. And it won't be on click, it will be on mouse enter. Perfect. And in here, you can add an action. So change variable value. And in here, we would change tooltip position. Okay. And so,
Formula?
yes. Yes, formula. And you see in the event, so maybe we could just for, so you can create an object here, but what I like to do to simplify this, we can just use a partial update. So can you click on the right, you see on the sidebar, you've got partial updates and it's off. Can you click on?
Ah,
And in here you can type in X. Just X. Perfect. And now we will update just X in here. And if you go to the third tab with the lightning icon, yes, this one, you can open the event, and in here you've got the position of the elements. So maybe we will have to add some pixels in here to position the tooltip
yeah.
properly. But I guess you get the idea. So
Yeah.
yes, plus 20, perfect.
Plus
And
plus px.
no need Q
Oh
because
yeah.
we added PX on the model, so we can
Ah
manage it.
yeah, right. My
So we
bad.
need to duplicate this one and do the
Yes,
Y.
exactly.
And display true.
Exactly. You're gonna need the third one.
I'm learning some stuff also, so just checking what you do.
And another one for the display.
Yeah, correct.
So this is why it will be nice to make it a component, because we're gonna have to also add another workflow on
Well,
mouse
I can
lift.
create it. I can then convert that icon to a
And here display, and now it would be true.
Nice.
And this should work. Let's try.
Finger crossed.
Oh,
Yeah. So what you can do now is in that variable, you can add a title or description, something like this.
I want to try real quick to also add new one. Oh, sorry. And just
So
update on mouse out, right?
yes, exactly. General value, yes. And you just need to update the display
Okay, so I probably need to do something where I don't transition.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. If you go to the model, you can cut it. You can remove it in the settings. And let's do
But if
for
you get the idea, maybe we should get to the other questions, no?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
on,
this
on
this I can
animation.
work with more.
Well, maybe we can do one last thing because I think some other people would be interested. Let's make it a global workflow, and so we will just trigger it as a global workflow. So in here, can you yes in action?
So
Can you
here's a question though. If I want to create it as its own component, can I basically somehow merge this icon with this modal to create a new, well, actually, modal cannot be part of a component though, right?
No, it cannot. Unfortunately, it cannot. But in here, we use model because it was easier to
Yeah, but I
configure.
can do similar thing with like another div
Exactly.
and
Yes.
just put it within the
Yes.
component because I would like it to be
Absolutely.
self-contained.
Absolutely, yes.
Because what I did for
Like
this,
you did.
yeah,
Yes, like you
I
did exactly.
expose the icon, the color, and the tooltip text, and then everything is within it. So I can add all of that. Okay.
Yes. Exactly. You can do it like this.
Okay. Good. That helps. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thanks. Bye. Okay, next one. Sorry, because we have to get all the questions if possible. Guillaume, again, is there any way to have a drop-down open upward, for example, for a selector at the bottom of a sidebar menu? I don't know if we have drop-downs that are happening above.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we do?
Okay, let
It's
me
an
share my
option?
I can show that, and at the same time, I will show how to get the width of a div.
Hmm.
So let me share my screen. I guess this is that one. Okay. Is it big enough? Can you see my screen?
I think it's okay.
Okay. So what I did to get the widths dynamically, what you can do is to create a formula here. So I went to actions, go to formula, and in here, I just called it return width. I added a parameter, which is the element ID. So for example, for this text here, I went to settings and I added an ID, my text, okay? So I've got an ID, and if I go back to my formula, so I added this parameter type text, and in this is the code you need to use. So let me copy paste it into the chat. Okay, so you can have it. And in here, you see I used wwlib get from document. So some of you may have used document dot get element by ID or query selector or something like this. If you use this, it will work on the editor. It will work on the editor and on the published app. This is how you can make it work in both environments. So instead of document, use this. And then it's basic JavaScript. So get element by ID. The element ID I put in as a parameter here. And then this is a basic JavaScript to get the width from the div. So I return it. And I made it a formula because now it's really easy for me. For example, I added a text here and I bound it to my formula. I added the ID of my div and it returns the pixels. This is how you can use it dynamically because the formula will be will recalculate the value. So for example, in here, I guess if I go to my text, didn't try it, but should work or not.
Is it reactive? Yeah.
Normally it should be reactive, so maybe I made a mistake here. Oh, it returned 200, so why my text is not re-rendered? Oh, I had to reload. So maybe it's not that dynamic.
Should be a
Something
ticket.
for you to study. Okay,
And
so
for those of you who don't know the www.getFromDocument and not document, it's because when you're using the editor, your app is inside an iframe, actually. So if you use document, you're changing the document of the WeWeb editor and not your app. So when you do www.getFromDocument, you will get inside the document of your iframe, and on production, it will be the normal document. So yeah.
So about the drop down, you can type in drop down here, and you need to use this one, data display drop down. You take that one here, and oh yes, you may need to add the background color. So let me remove this so we can see it. But on this element, so if I go to layout here, you see I've got, sorry, let me do
Mhm. Emergency.
It's okay. So in here, you've got basically two drop zones. So you've got the first drop zone is the button. So I could basically add another one or an icon on anything in here. Really, it's free. You can drag and drop anything here, and it will trigger the drop down. Okay. So in that drop down, you can do anything you like. And if you select the parent here, I guess this is what you wanted to do, to put it at the top of it. Let me see why it disappeared. Maybe because I added an offset on that one. Yes. So you may need to, right, bottom. So you may need to then, yes, play with it a bit to just display it as you wish. So let me add something like this. Okay, if you wish it to be above, I guess this is what you wanted to do, right? Tell me if it's not the case, but this element is quite useful to create a dropdown and to place the dropdown anywhere you like with some, and basically to also design it as you wish, because this is completely free inside those two drop zones.
Yeah, that's it. Guillaume is happy. Nice. Price is asking another question. I want to verify my approach is correct. I created a component with an input field in it. I exposed properties for initial value and placeholder. I had to add value assignment on change init value, change on mount in order for the component to behave correctly. Am I missing something? Sometimes on preview mode, if I refresh data, the values will not get assigned correctly. Not sure if it will be an issue in the live view or is it just on preview? It's really specific to the elements, I think. So maybe we'll invite you back.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can replicate kind of what experience, but I'll show you kind of what my component looks like. And I just wanted to understand if that's really the suggested approach, because again, I have a lot of form data that I need to bring up. So I created these mini components within my library, so I can just have a label, the eye icon, and the placeholder. I have all of my attributes that get passed to all of those items. And in particular, so the input initial value, input placeholder. What I realized is then in order to access the value of this component, so there was a couple of things I also, so I also added the data variable, which is the value. So I can access that through my standard application. And then through trial and error, I realized that the actual input box needed a few different ways to populate up again the value. So I added on change, I added on here, so I added on change, on init value change, And
Yes.
I also added on mounted just to be safe. I don't know if I'm missing something else in order for the input boxes to behave seamlessly.
No, no, you're not. And actually, what you would need to do is to be able to expose the variable of an input. And this is what you can, because if you could select the input and expose its value, you wouldn't have to do that. So right now you did the right thing. And this is something we need to add indeed.
Okay, yeah, it would be nice if the actual component I can in the I don't know, somehow to more easily expose the input stuff up, because
Yeah.
I would suspect that now with components, a lot of people will be doing what I'm doing.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And we are working on something that you can select an element inside a component, you can expose the full component. And so, for example, if you need to select some element just to change some style on your instance, you will not have to create all the properties and to, bind everything inside your components. You will just have to select it and expose that child component, and then it would be accessible in the instance. So I think it would solve your issue. You're absolutely right, and I think we are going to prioritize what you just exposed.
While I'm here, can I ask some real quick question, and maybe that's a bug? Is there any way to change this advanced, hold on, where is it? The advanced, what is it called?
And the placeholder.
Yeah, the advanced placeholder. Is there any way to change the styling of that advanced placeholder?
So maybe so what change would you like to do? I think
I want it not that bright. It's like the standard black color, and I obviously is a placeholder, and I would like it to be to the right some. The only things that I seem to be able to adjust. Oh, is it like a separate element?
Yes, you can select it.
Okay. I guess blind. I didn't realize I can actually select it, so then I can adjust all of the stuff here, I would imagine. Oh, never mind my question. Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Don't hesitate to check for mask input in the add panel. I think you would like it for your use case. And also the number in display. We have another one that you can really change. So sometime you like to have an input to type in your number and then to display it in a proper way. So you get a dedicated element to display numbers. So you can check that out, the numbers and the masked inputs. So you can add some rules to use.
So
that.
actually, that's a great, I guess, kind of goes to my other question, because yes, the input is honestly quite uglily formatted if I want to add currency, but you're saying that I can in theory actually use the number format in here?
Yes, because in here in the inputs, you can select number in the type, and this is the native number. So this is really the number from the browser. This is the ones that work well on mobile or the thing, but this is really basic. So because of this, if you go to the add panel on the top, this is another element.
Yeah,
And if
there's the
you go
number one.
search, you can type in number.
Yeah.
Yes, this one. And this one, so it's really for display purposes, so you won't be able to type in something. But if you go to the settings of this one, on the second tab, third tab, sorry, as you, yes, in here, you see you've got a lot of properties here to be able to display it really as you wish. So this is one part of it, if you need to display numbers.
Yeah, I was using that for display, but how can I format like this box, this input box?
So you need the mask input for this.
Okay.
This is the other one. So if you go to the add panel, this is another element. And you can start to type in, yes, mask. Yes, this one.
Okay.
And this one, so you need to work a bit on it on the settings, but basically you see in pattern just below here. Yes. If you go to the little icon on the left, you've got many examples.
Okay.
And so in here you can display, for example, the dollar, and then after that you can add a dedicated format for this. So I think to display something, it's bracket, dollar, bracket, and then you may be able to.
Like which bracket? Hold on.
Yes, that's one, I think. Bracket. So in here it was dollar, then another bracket, and then yes, you can add many zeros. And normally I think this is.
Oh, cool. Okay, I will play with that. Okay, that answers my question, because really, like, I was like, this other input is not, it's not pretty. Okay, I
Yeah,
will play with it.
totally understand. And now you can really play with the pattern and make it like you want normally.
Okay. Good. This helped too. Thank you.
Well,
Nice. Another question from Alex. Questions about further WeWeb development. Is there any possibility of making the essential elements editable to standardize the design on the base element, so that when it is pulled in, we don't need to then assign classes or make changes to everything? You mean like having the base elements in the from the add panel as a library? Because that's basically what we are doing with this UI kit and the future the marketplace that will come by the end of the quarter normally, so that you can change all of them in one go, I think.
yeah, I think you need to create a library to publish library for this.
Yeah, you can create a library out of our elements, and yeah, what we're suggesting, and then publish your own library and reuse your library.
Yeah, I can quickly show you. Let me go back to my browser here. Okay, so I'm back into that project, and basically in here I use the template starter kit, so I can do it again. Let me go back to dashboard here, go to my workspace, I can create a project, go to starter kit, and I can create library here. And really this is a good practice when you want to industrialize your work and you know that you are going to maybe build multiple projects. You can create a project like this, and you don't need to publish it, so it will remain free, I mean, for you. So you see in here in that project, if I go to library, I've got many typographies, some colors, some tokens in here, classes, some components I created, and so on. And when I'm done, what I can do is to share to workspace. So I can click on this, I can add a commit name here, and okay, I'm done. And the nice thing is that if I go back to the previous project I just created, I think it was, I don't remember which one, but let me create a new one. And in that project, what I can do is to go to libraries, click my libraries here. And I don't remember how I called it, of course.
Library? No.
My library, maybe. Yes, it looks like the proper one. Okay, so I can add it to the project. Okay, perfect. And now if I, in that blank project, just add a text, you see in here, I have access to all my typographies that I just added. And also, if I go to the add panel here and you see I've got the project array, which is empty, but now I've got another one here. And in here, I can find all the components from my other project in here. And so I won't have to, I can drag and drop it, and I won't have to add the classes or to add anything about it, because I industrialize my work. And so you can add components, but also you can add some templates. If you don't want to use some components, you can just save as it is the element. And if it uses some variables or formulas, you can also create the variables and the formulas with it. But basically, this is one way to do it. And the nice thing is that if I go back to to my library, to my project dedicated for my library, if I make a change, for example, in here, I can, let me go back to library, and I will just change the value of that color. Okay, I click save. And you see in here now I can publish my changes. I can say, I just change the color. I publish this. And it won't change immediately to the other project. So it's not a big deal if you have old projects. You can still update your library, because now if I go here, or maybe I need to reload. So I think it was not that one. Maybe it was this one, which is the same.
But we've got a whole video on YouTube. So
okay, yes, you can send the
do
video.
not worry.
So I think
But basically, you can select here to update the library. Yeah.
You will have a little dot in here to tell you that you have a new version, and then you can accept that new version. And if you don't like it, you can then go in here and use another version here. And I prefer to use that version because I made some breaking change and I don't want it to.
But
so
Alex,
this is how you can really industrialize your work.
Alex has a nice suggestion about this. He's saying that if you use, like, for example, you're creating a dropdown out of the base element from WeWeb, and you're using multiple elements, then if they change, you lose the control over your library. So you need to create everything yourself. Because basically, if we change an element that's used in the dropdown element in your library, then it will change the whole library for them too.
If we make
if we create a dropdown like in your library and you're using the basic element from WeWeb from the add panel, and the basic element gets updated, for example, the whole library will change because it will inherit these changes too.
Yes,
so then they lose the full control of the inheritance of the components. Because they can't control these changes, basically.
The changes we are doing ourselves.
Yeah, because this library is not available like the base one that it's in the add panel. It's not available. The starter kit is a library, but the one you have in the add, it's not the starter kit.
If we make a change of with these ones, ones.
Yeah, if you use them in the library.
Normally, we won't break your work if we make a change in here. But if you are afraid of this, if you are really afraid of this, there is a way. You can go here to the development in here and go to the public repositories. And all the elements you can find in the add panel are open source in here. They are all there. So what you can do is to just, if you know a bit GitHub, you can get the code from it. You upload it, and then you go back to your dashboard. And in your workspace, you can go to components in here, and you can import an element from GitHub. And then you will really have a copy of that element, and it will never change. Absolutely never. But normally the change we do to the basic elements are always retro-compatible, so it won't break your designs or your work. And if we do that, you should immediately create a ticket and we would fix it. But if you're afraid of this, and if you really, really want to have the full control of your components, you can just add yourself the components from GitHub in your workspace, and then it will they will all be yours, absolutely yours.
Yeah. It's not exactly answering my question. I'm not sure to get it. Do you want to step up, Alex?
Hey, 1 second. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I kind of see what you're saying, and I'm trying to think about explain how a different scenario works out to where, for example, with a drop-down element, you have the drop-down, you have the placeholder, you have the chevron down or whatever you want to call it, the icon. But if I think make sure, I guess answer my question, and maybe it can clarify. If I create a separate library and I create a component within that library with that drop down, make all the changes to it, um, don't I have to create a component out of it, or can I save it as an element? Is that what you were saying? I can save it as a an element template, and I guess that would be the equivalent of saving it as a component, because if it was a base component in my own project.
Yes, it would be a template like our elements. So you would drag and drop it, and it wouldn't be linked. It would be just
Oh, okay, that's the problem, I guess. I would like for it to always be linked. So a reusable component would be the way to do that. But once I create a reusable component, then I lose control of all the different functionality that you assign to something like a dropdown, where there's a lot of settings that you can, like what the options are, what the value and keys are.
Because you wrap it and then you don't have properties and you need to recreate those properties yourself. That's what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot of recreating those properties. So that's why I'm wondering if one day, or if there's the possibility of making the basic elements, the essential elements, something that if we change it in our system, they stay changed
Okay, got
for
it.
us, but they don't
Okay, so
necessarily break. I don't know. I'm just wondering if that's a possibility.
what you would like to have, for example, if you add the button, you make it a component. And then when you add the instances in your project, when you click on it, on this instance, you would like to have all the properties, right? That you have normally with the button.
Yeah, by default, as opposed to having to recreate them all on something like that.
So something is coming. So you will be able to expose a wall component or element inside your component. So basically, you would click the button, you would make it a component, and then you would select inside your component your button. You will have a checkbox, expose it, expose this element. And normally, you will be also able to select the properties you wish to expose if you don't want to expose everything, for example.
Okay, so you can say, I want all the input type and variations exposed, and therefore at the top level outside the component, you'll be able to change it.
You won't have to create. You won't have to
that would
create
solve
and to bind and do that work. So you won't have to do that.
That would be that'd be equally great.
In weeks. Let's give us a month to do that.
All right.
And this is coming really, and
Great.
it will help you not to have to create all those properties and all those bindings to expose them again when you wrap them into a component.
Okay, great. I guess something in that vein is I'm trying to create a very complex input component, and I'm just wondering if is one of the questions I put there. Are you guys planning on making input type bindable?
Yes, we are. It's in
Okay.
You're
Yeah,
not
go
the
ahead
only
with the go ahead with the other questions while you're here. No worries.
Yeah, and the last one, what did I even say? I'm trying to remember. But so I guess maybe it's solved in the new dropdown element, but if I assign an array to be the option set for a dropdown, then it asks you to assign the value
the
and
label.
assign the label. Is that bindable?
And this one is coming really soon. You're gonna have a new property. It's going to be called array of objects. And then you will be able to create this into your component inside your components. And then you will have the same experience that you have with the select input. You know, when you bind to an array the select, then you need to select the label and the value. You know, that part, that one. So you will be able to recreate this experience for your components. So you will be able to bind array, and then you will just have to specify the all the keys on the labels inside that, what you are
Well,
looking for.
are
And
those
then
keys
you,
going to be bindable as well, so that you can kind of do a combination of like take array key this and a plus this and make it kind of a combo display?
yes,
Okay,
exactly. That's why we
great.
took our time to raise it, because right now you can select only the path for those elements. And when you are going to wrap it into a component, we'll be able to give this schema basically. So you can
Okay.
give the name you want inside your component and then manage the internal logic. And in your property, in the value, you will have a formula and not just a path. So you will be able to
Okay.
manipulate the data and just, for example, add a first name plus name for the for the value. So yes, it will be powerful for your components.
Okay, great. That sounds good. Looking forward to that.
I think you had a last question about Supabase, like handling staging environments with the plugins.
Yeah, because we're running into the issue about like doing testing for our app to where we want to create a bunch of test users, for example, and we're making sure the functionality works, but it's updating and changing our live database. Is there a
Yeah.
process or that you recommend to create a temporary testing database or somehow to do that?
So this is a good question. So right
think
now
we
you
could.
can you cannot specify
sorry.
multiple configurations. This is something we are going to work on this year, not in Q1, but maybe in Q2. But I don't want to give a date right now. But the process for you would be what you can do is to go to the plugin, to the Supabase plugin. You change the configuration, then you publish to staging, and once you click, you click to publish, and while it's publishing, you change the configuration back for the editor, for example. So this is a bit of work. You need to copy paste 3 inputs basically. This is the process. Something you can also do, and this is a good practice with Supabase, is to work locally with Supabase. You can, you can have Supabase just on your computer with the localhost, and then you can use this localhost URL into the WeWeb configuration, and it will use only the data on your computer. So you can work with your local data, and once you're done, you publish your change on Supabase, and then you go back to the editor, and before publishing, you put the production links inside the plugin, you publish, and then you put back the local URLs.
And that
So
can work at any time in the process, even if we're fully public, we can go back to staging and testing in that way, and then come send it
Yes,
back to.
you just need to change the configuration before publishing. So this is, I know this is frustrating. We are going to work on that. So you can basically, for all the plugins, decide the different configuration, define the different configuration for every environment. We're working on it. But right now you need to change every time you publish.
Yeah.
Okay.
To make it like, because Product is asking the same about Xano, but on Xano you've got the environments natively and our plugin handle them. So basically you can change. And I think that's what the Supabase plugin will look like in a few months. Or something like this, or with variables, I don't know.
We don't want to do something too different for all the plugins. We did that for Xano and it was a lot of work. So we want to basically do that for all the plugins at once. So this will be native for all the plugins, even the front-end plugins.
Oh, great. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate that explanation. That'll help a lot.
Cool. Thanks. Have a nice day then.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
I think we covered all the questions. Just thanks, Pratt, for the kind words, because she's coming from Bubble. And I saw she said that it will be nice to have the library first and then the default component. So I saw that you are working in the base. So let's be honest with you, we've done that because activation-wise, it was better for early users, no coders, to have like some easy to use components at the beginning. But I think with the future, with the marketplace, all the components will definitely become libraries. Yeah. So yeah. I think that's all for today. Nice, because we have to go. It's already late in France. Sorry, guys. But that was really cool. Again, we had we hold these office hours every Tuesday, same time. And also we have onboarding sessions now at 10 a.m. Eastern time, also on Tuesdays. And also feel free to come to on Thursday, also 12 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have a live webinar with PwC, and they've made internal apps on their own infrastructure using WeWeb and Supabase. So it will be really cool to see how they've done it. And yeah, see ya, guys. Bye.
Bye.